Introduction. In the realm of human relationships, especially between men and women, emotions, expectations, and loyalty often intertwine in complex ways. Many men believe that loyalty is earned solely through acts of service, provision, or constant giving. However, the reality can be far more nuanced. Women, like all people, are ultimately loyal to what resonates deeply with their emotions, values, and sense of fulfillment, not just to what is done for them. From a Stoic perspective, understanding this truth is essential for inner peace and self-respect. It reminds us that genuine connection is not about endless sacrifices to win approval, but about aligning with authenticity, self-worth, and shared principles. This shift in mindset liberates us from the exhausting cycle of seeking validation, and instead grounds us in the unshakable strength of living in accordance with our values. 1. Loyalty is emotional, not transactional. Loyalty, in its truest form, is not a currency you can buy, trade, or secure through a series of transactions. It is an emotional bond that grows from trust, shared values, and genuine connection. Many people make the mistake of thinking that loyalty can be earned purely by what they do for someone, buying gifts, providing favors, or constantly saying yes to requests. While acts of kindness and generosity can strengthen a relationship, they are not the root cause of loyalty. Emotional loyalty is built on a person's feelings toward you, not the ledger of what you've given them. When loyalty is transactional, it has an expiration date. The moment you stop giving or the other person finds a better offer, the connection weakens or disappears. But when loyalty is emotional, it becomes resilient. It survives distance, hardship, and even disagreements because it is anchored in a deeper sense of mutual respect, admiration, and shared purpose. This is why in friendships, business, or romantic relationships, you can sometimes see people remain fiercely committed to someone who has little to offer materially, but has consistently offered authenticity, integrity, and care. Emotional loyalty grows when people feel understood, valued for who they are, and safe to be themselves in your presence. It thrives in environments of honesty and consistent character, where actions match words. It is also a two-way street. People can only sustain deep loyalty when they know it's reciprocated, when they feel you stand by them even if circumstances changed. To cultivate emotional loyalty, you must invest in connection, not transactions. This means listening without always trying to fix, being present without an agenda, and respecting boundaries while still offering support. It also means recognizing that loyalty cannot be demanded. It must be inspired. People choose where to place their deepest loyalty, and they do so based on who you are, not just what you do. Over time, emotional loyalty becomes one of life's most valuable currencies because it can't be stolen, bought, or easily replaced. It creates bonds that can weather storms and endure seasons of scarcity or challenge, where transactional ties would have already dissolved. In every meaningful relationship, there comes a point where material benefits fade into the background, and what remains is a memory of how someone made you feel respected, trusted, and truly seen. That is a foundation of loyalty that lasts. 2. Attraction to core values. Attraction to core values is one of the most powerful and enduring forms of connection between people. While physical appearance, charm, and surface-level interests may initially spark attraction, these elements often fade over time if they are not grounded in something deeper. Core values, such as integrity, honesty, kindness, ambition, loyalty, and respect, are the fundamental principles that guide a person's decisions and behavior. When two individuals share or deeply appreciate each other's core values, the relationship is built on a strong and stable foundation that can withstand life's inevitable challenges. This is because core values reflect who a person truly is at their essence, beyond the mask they may wear or the roles they may play. Aligning with someone's values means you are aligned with their vision of the world, their definition of right and wrong, and their long-term priorities. Such alignment creates not only emotional and intellectual attraction, but also a profound sense of trust and safety. In many relationships, physical attraction or shared hobbies can initiate interest, but these factors alone rarely sustain deep connection over years or decades. If values are misaligned, say one partner values financial security while the other prioritizes freedom and adventure, conflict will inevitably arise when big life decisions need to be made. Conversely, when values match, even difficult situations become easier to navigate because both people are guided by the same compass. This shared moral and philosophical grounding fosters mutual respect, reduces misunderstandings, and strengthens commitment. Moreover, attraction to core values often leads to admiration, which is a key ingredient for lasting love. When you admire the way someone lives their values, how they stand by their principles, treat others with dignity, and pursue their goals with purpose, you feel inspired and proud to be connected to them. This inspiration fuels affection and keeps the emotional connection vibrant over time. It is also important to note that attraction to core values can exist even when personalities or lifestyles differ. Two people might have very different hobbies, tastes, or social styles, but if they both value honesty, loyalty, and compassion, they can build a strong, harmonious relationship. This is because values operate at a deeper level than preferences. They influence how people respond to adversity, how they treat others, and how they choose their priorities. Recognizing and being drawn to someone's values means you see and appreciate their true character, not just their external qualities. This kind of attraction is more resilient because it is less vulnerable to changes in appearance, circumstances, or external achievements. Ultimately, seeking and cultivating attraction based on core values is one of the most effective ways to form meaningful, lasting relationships, whether romantic, platonic, or professional. It encourages authenticity because people who live according to their values are more likely to show their true selves without pretense. It also nurtures personal growth, since being around someone with admirable values can challenge and inspire you to live up to your own highest standards. In a world full of fleeting connections, attraction core values is like an anchor, steady, grounding, and capable of holding strong through the shifting tides of life. 3. Self-respect over people-pleasing. Self-respect over people-pleasing is one of the most important lessons for living with dignity, confidence, and inner peace. People-pleasing often begins with good intentions, wanting to be liked, helpful, or supportive, but when taken too far, it becomes self-destructive. It can lead you to compromise your values, suppress your true feelings, and neglect your own needs just to keep others comfortable. Over time, this erodes your sense of self-worth and teaches people that your boundaries are flexible or non-existent. Self-respect, on the other hand, means valuing yourself enough to stand firm in your principles, protect your emotional well-being, and make choices that align with your truth, even if that means disappointing others. It is not about being rude, selfish, or uncaring. Rather, it's about recognizing that you cannot pour from an empty cup and that your first responsibility is to yourself. A people pleaser often seeks validation externally, feeling good only when others approve. Self-respect shifts that validation inward. You feel good because you know you acted with integrity, whether others praise you or not. This change requires courage, because breaking a habit of constant approval seeking means accepting that not everyone will like you, and that's okay. The right people will respect you more for having boundaries, while those who take advantage will naturally fall away. When you prioritize self-respect, you communicate verbally and non-verbally that your time, energy, and emotions are valuable. You become more decisive, more confident, and less susceptible to manipulation. It also frees you from resentment because you no longer overextend yourself to meet unrealistic demands. Choosing self-respect may mean saying no to things that drain you, walking away from relationships that disrespect you, or standing up for your beliefs even if your voice shakes. It means honoring your own limits, listening to your inner voice, and refusing to betray yourself for the sake of harmony. Ironically, by respecting yourself first, you actually create healthier, more authentic relationships because they are built on honesty rather than hidden resentment. You learn to give from a place of abundance rather than obligation, and your generosity becomes more genuine. In the long run, people who truly care for you will appreciate your honesty and strength. Those who don't will simply fade out of your life, making room for better connections. Self-respect is not a one-time decision, but a daily practice, a constant choice to check in with yourself and ask, does this align with who I am and what I value? When you answer that question with integrity, you reclaim your power. You begin to live a life that feels true, not just agreeable. In this way, you become not only respected by others, but deeply respected by yourself. And that is a foundation for a life of fulfillment, confidence, and genuine peace. For authenticity is magnetic. Authenticity is one of the most powerful traits a person can possess, yet is often underestimated in a world obsessed with appearances, trends, and fitting in. To be authentic means to live in alignment with your true values, beliefs, and personality, without wearing a mask to gain approval. When you are authentic, you radiate a quiet confidence that draws people toward you, because authenticity is rare and refreshing in a society saturated with imitation. People are naturally drawn to those who are genuine because they can sense honesty, trustworthiness, and emotional safety. You don't have to be perfect to be authentic. In fact, it's your imperfections, when embraced openly, that make you relatable and human. Pretending to be someone you're not is exhausting, and over time, people can feel the inconsistency. On the other hand, when your words, actions, and intentions align, you create a powerful energy that is both attractive and inspiring. Authenticity doesn't mean you share every detail of your life with everyone. It means you speak and act from a place of truth, not manipulation. It requires self-awareness, knowing who you are, what matters to you, and where you stand, and the courage to live accordingly, even if it means not pleasing everyone. The magnetic pull of authenticity comes from the fact that it liberates others to be themselves too. When people see you owning your identity unapologetically, it gives them permission to drop their own masks. In relationships, whether personal or professional, authenticity builds trust faster than any charm or performance ever could. People feel at ease with you because they know there is no hidden agenda. In a world of filters, curated lifestyles, and strategic networking, an authentic person stands out as a rare gem, a steady presence in a sea of pretense. Your authenticity will repel some people, and that's okay. It simply means you're attracting those who truly resonate with who you are. Instead of chasing approval, you're aligning with those who value you for the real you. Over time, living authentically reduces stress, deepens connections, and fosters resilience, because you no longer waste energy maintaining a false image. The lesson is clear. Authenticity is magnetic because it embodies freedom, courage, and truth. It is not something you have to manufacture. It's something you uncover by stripping away the layers of who you think you should be, until all that remains is who you truly are. That version of you, the one that laughs without self-consciousness, speaks without hidden motives, and acts without fear of judgment, is the one people will remember and be drawn to. In a culture that rewards conformity, authenticity is a quiet rebellion that leaves a lasting impact. When you choose to live authentically, you become not just attracted to others, but deeply at peace with yourself. And that is the kind of magnetism that never fades. 5. Avoid the validation trap. The validation trap is one of the most subtle yet destructive habits that can quietly erode your confidence, independence, and self-worth. At its core, it is a constant need to seek approval, recognition, or praise from others before you can feel good about yourself. This trap is dangerous because it shifts your sense of value from something internal and unshakable to something external and fragile, dependent on the changing opinions, moods, and judgment of those around you. When you live in a validation trap, your decisions, actions, and even personality can start to revolve around what you think will earn you the most applause rather than what is true to your principles and authentic self. The problem is, validation from others is never permanent. Today's praise can turn into tomorrow's criticism, and if your self-worth is tied to it, you'll ride an exhausting emotional roller coaster that leaves you constantly anxious about whether you are enough. The more you rely on external validation, the more you compromise your authenticity, often suppressing your real feelings, needs, and beliefs just to maintain a pleasing image. Over time, this can breed resentment toward others and even toward yourself, because deep down, you know you are not living honestly. The way out of the validation trap is to build an internal foundation of self-respect that is independent of outside approval. This means setting your own standard for success, trusting your judgment, and embracing the discomfort of not always being liked or understood. It means valuing progress over perfection and recognizing that your worth is not up for public vote. True self-confidence is not arrogance. It's the quiet strength that comes from knowing you are enough as you are without the constant need for someone to confirm it. Practicing self-validation by acknowledging your own efforts, celebrating your growth, and being honest about your shortcomings will gradually free you from the invisible chains of needing others' praise. Remember, when you stop chasing validation, you start attracting respect, because people can sense when you are grounded in your own worth. You also become harder to manipulate, since your sense of identity can't be swayed by flattery or criticism. The world is full of noise and opinions, and if you let every passing comment shape your self-image, you will forever be at the mercy of others. But if you anchor your value in who you are and what you stand for, you gain something priceless: freedom. Freedom to speak your mind without fear. Freedom to make choices that align with your purpose. Freedom to live in a way that feels right, not just looks right. Avoiding the validation trap is not about rejecting all feedback. It's about filtering it through your own principles, keeping what is useful, and discarding what undermines your truth. Only then can you live with a quiet confidence that is immune to the ups and downs of public opinion. And that is the kind of power no one can take from you. 6. Stoic detachment protects you. Stoic detachment is not about coldness, apathy, or an absence of love. It is about developing the strength to remain stable and at peace regardless of what life throws your way. At its core, Stoic philosophy teaches that while we cannot control the actions, feelings, or opinions of others, we can always control our own responses. Detachment is the art of releasing the need to cling to what is outside our power, whether it be a person, a possession, or an outcome. When you practice this, you stop giving external events the power to dictate your internal state. In relationships, this means valuing and caring for people without becoming so emotionally dependent on them that their every action shatters your peace. In daily life, it means not being enslaved by desires or fears, no longer reacting impulsively to praise, criticism, success, or failure. This mindset protects you from emotional chaos because it roots your sense of worth and stability in what cannot be taken away: your reason, virtue, and self-discipline. Detachment also shields you from manipulation. When you are not easily swayed by flattery, provoked by insults, or controlled by the fear of loss, others cannot pull your strings. You remain centered, making decisions based on principle rather than impulse. It allows you to approach challenges calmly, see situations more clearly, and act in ways aligned with your values rather than your fleeting emotions. This does not mean you avoid connection or commitment. Rather, you engage fully while accepting that change, loss, and uncertainty are inevitable. By understanding that everything in life is temporary, you cherish what you have without gripping it in fear, and you let go without resentment when it passes. The Stoics often use a metaphor of life as a loan. You are entrusted with people, possessions, and opportunities for a time, and when they're taken back, you accept it as part of the natural order. This mindset transforms suffering into wisdom because you stop resisting the reality you cannot change. In practice, Stoic detachment is cultivated through self-reflection, mindful awareness of your reactions, and daily reminders of impermanence. You remind yourself that your peace of mind depends not on what happens to you, but on the story you tell yourself about it. You train your focus on what is in your control, your choices, your effort, your attitude, and you let go of the rest. Over time, this creates a deep inner resilience. You can love without losing yourself, hope without being destroyed by disappointment, and strive without being broken by failure. True freedom is not the absence of problems, but the ability to remain unshaken by them. In a world full of volatility, Stoic detachment is your shield. It keeps you grounded, rational, and unbreakable, no matter how fiercely the winds of life may blow.